Thank you very much. Thank you, and thank you to Jasa for inviting and giving us this opportunity. Um, just a small comment on the title of this particular session. Um, Illusion versus reality in most of the cases, and many of the cases actually, it's a matter of perspective. Many things which we enjoy today and which are the realities of life, they were pretty much illusionary, not too far ago. So I think, but when we apply this in the context of Pakistan and some of the challenges which the country is facing, I think many small things and many kind of minuscule kind of challenges which other countries have overcome many years ago, a long time ago, they have really become a big challenge, a gigantic challenge for us. And when I look into this in a specific context of the institution which I represent, National Disaster Risk Management Fund, and then contextualize it with the climatic challenges and the disaster challenges which the country is facing. I think again this is a big challenge. This is a huge challenge which Pakistan is facing. I think in the specific context, what you asked, the very flood which we haven't really yet crossed over, with still many people in the Sindh and Balochistan area. I think that they still are going through the very initial phases of their rehabilitation and the reconstruction phases. And the government and many other agencies, both local as well as international, they are providing all the support. No, I think we need to take a step back, and I think many people or all of you must have heard that this specific flood is the direct consequence of the climatic changes which are happening not only in Pakistan, but they are happening globally, and we are at the tail end of it. We are where we are facing the consequences of these challenge changes. I think that's very much true, and there is of course no denial to the fact that the climate change is indeed a global phenomena, and the contributions which Pakistan is making are indeed very small. But I think nevertheless the issue remains that here on the ground, the people who are facing the poor people who have lost their properties and the homes in Balochistan or in Sindh area, or their land for agriculture purposes, or the small businesses. I think we just cannot blame the global community for that. We have to do something about it. Now, when we talk about climate change, it is really, and especially talking about the behavioral changes, it is really everything. You know, few of us who are sitting here on this stage and coming from many different sectors, I think they all represent, when it comes to addressing, when it comes to trying to find the solution to these disaster challenges which are direct consequences of climatic changes. Energy is one thing. Finance, of course, is an overarching thing. Real estate development is another one, and similarly others. So what it requires, one of the earlier colleagues here on this stage actually mentioned that very rightfully and very powerfully. She mentioned that these are the small changes, so which actually add up, which accumulate, and they really make turn into big changes. So these are the small incremental kind of a behavioral changes which we need. What we need is the way we live, the way we commute, the way we entertain, the way we cool and warm our houses, and everything else. I think this is what is required. Now, NDRMF is a federal entity. I think one of my colleagues is going to play a short video at the background of it. You can see that the kind of contributions which NDRMF has been able to do. But I think you know, the one question which might be popping while go through the video and listening my candid talk is that yeah, if all these contributions has been done, if these interventions were undertaken, then why we are still at the mercy of these disasters? It's because we're talking about the climate changes, we're talking about the natural induced disasters, and I think we're talking about a very long-term phenomena. It's going to take a long-term and long period of time to overcome these changes, and that can only happen with the with very conscious efforts. So there's a need for making the right kind of policies, and those policies needed to be fully implemented as well. I can give you one example, and this has actually happened in Pakistan because of the kind of reactive approach we have to different kind of situations and eventualities. When 2005 earthquake came, and all the measures and everything, the kind of institutional development and policy development which happened post 2005 was actually very largely focused on the earthquake. Now, forgetting about that, the country is vulnerable and exposed to many other kind of disasters as well. And similarly, 2010 floods, a very similar kind of approach happened in post-flood area. I think what is needed is a very comprehensive approach in terms of putting the right kind of policies and implementing those. Now, nevertheless, NDMA is another sister agency which is responsible for all the relief, rehabilitation, preparedness kind of efforts. Our role is very specific and focused, which is for long-term disaster risk reductions. So the kind of interventions which NDRMF made, they are focused and they are mandated to have the long-term intervention. So we do kind of, we build flood protection measures, we do the bunds and early warning systems which actually can pre-warn people and allow them to take the necessary precautionary measures. And then on top of that, the climate change adaptation and mitigation, and which of course we have several interventions. We got several projects lined up to do that as well. When it comes to the impact, of course we're not going to see the impact, especially the climate change mitigation adaptation measures which we are doing. We're not going to see the impact in the next monsoon or the next year or even the year after. We're going to see the impact maybe 5 years or 10 years or 15 or 20 years down the road. But some of the flood protection measures which we have done, and I'm glad to say that those measures actually withstood the recent floods. So we are going to undertake some kind of assessment to see that how it positively or how it was able to save and safeguard the communities. But the initial assessment and the reports basically show that those measures have actually saved those communities. I think Pakistan, we're talking about the transforming Pakistan, reshaping Pakistan. I think what is required is a sustainable Pakistan. The sustainability component need to be brought in, need to be very tightly adhered to. So if we have missed coming up with the right kind of building codes after the 2005 earthquake or 2010 flood, I think this might be another opportunity, a kind of a painful opportunity to have those rights and properly designed building codes, and then have a regulatory and implementation mechanism to make sure that those building codes are ensured. Similarly, a friend from Ogra actually very rightfully mentioned that we just cannot continue with the kind of lifestyle which we for energy consumption aspects. I think similarly on many other areas as well, we need to do very transformative and drastic changes as well. And that's the only way to move forward, and maybe that's the only way for Pakistan to have a sustainable future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bilal.